People love to tell you to just be grateful, but when you're really going through it or your life feels like it's kind of falling apart, gratitude can feel almost impossible, right? And stay with me because I'm going to share with you a real life example of mine. Welcome back, loves, or welcome if you're new here to the sanctuary. So today we are talking about gratitude. So, not the aesthetic version, not the filtered version that people post about online mostly. Real, actual gratitude, the kind you fight to hold on to even when life is really testing you. Now, remember, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and always use your own discernment. You are your own best guide. And trigger warning for grief, survival mode, depression, emotional overwhelm, loss, and difficult life seasons. So there's this pressure a lot of times, especially in spiritual spaces, to, stay positive, love and light, no matter what, and to just focus on the good, to raise your vibration, good vibes only, to act like pain disappears if you say enough affirmations over a cup of moon water and a Pinterest quote. But that's not real life, is it? Real gratitude is deeper than that. It's not pretending. Sometimes gratitude feels hard because you're genuinely hurting, because your nervous system is exhausted, because your world has changed, because you're grieving something, someone, or maybe the version of yourself that you used to be. And I've been through a lot of moments like this in my life. And I think people confuse gratitude and bypassing. They think that gratitude means you can't cry, you can't be angry, you can't question things or struggle, and that's not truth. You can be grateful and grieving, grateful and exhausted, grateful and still trying to survive, to just make it through the day. But gratitude is huge. And sometimes it seems tiny, okay? And it may not always be, oh, I'm grateful for this painful lesson. Sometimes it's just, I made it through today, or I got out of bed. I had food to eat today. I didn't give up. I was able to shower. My pet made me laugh. The sky really looked beautiful. I'm still here. And all of that counts. I'll give you a real example from my own life. When I was living in my car, don't get me wrong, there were moments where I didn't understand why it was happening to me, and I couldn't see how I was ever going to get myself out of that situation. There were moments where it felt impossible to me. But there were also moments where I would sit and say, I'm so glad to have this car because there are people out there sleeping on the street. I didn't have a shower, but I had the ocean nearby. And I was grateful that I could still bathe and cleanse myself in some way. And that might sound really crazy to some people, that this chick's out here being grateful, sleeping in her car and bathing in the ocean. But gratitude brings abundance. That is true. And there is always something to be grateful for. And I would encourage you, you can find at least one tiny, seemingly tiny thing to be grateful for. I would sit in my car and watch tarot on my phone and imagine myself one day having a channel and helping others the way those readings helped me. And here I am. I said affirmations every morning, and when I felt like I would never escape that season, I would tell myself how protected I was. I would speak out loud what my future was going to look like. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but deep down I knew that those moments, those rough moments, were not going to last forever. And as intense as that season was, those moments in that car taught me so much about survival, about what's truly necessary in life, and honestly, a lot about gratitude. And how many times in my life maybe I wasn't as grateful. So it sounds pretty insane that there were moments when I was essentially homeless, living in my car, where I felt more gratitude than times when I had it all, seemingly had it all, right? Because when everything gets stripped away from you, you start realizing what actually matters. Not status, not appearances, not impressing people. Safety, peace, hope, connection. Maybe it's the person next to you. Maybe it's a moment of relief, a reason to keep going. And eventually, something shifts for you. Not overnight, not because someone forced positivity on you, but because one day you realize you survived things that once convinced you that you wouldn't or couldn't, and that changes you. Now, if you had told me years before that experience that I could have went through that and come out the other side a stronger person, I would have really doubted it. I would have doubted myself. That really changes you. And gratitude becomes softer after that, more honest, more sacred. And you start looking for things to be grateful for versus the other way around. You stop forcing giant gratitude and start noticing the tiny miracles, the warm coffee, the warm shower, music that understands you, a deep breath after anxiety, your animals loving on you, a sign when you really needed one, silence after chaos, rest after survival mode. That's real gratitude. Not perfection, because we know that doesn't exist. Not pretending, not spiritual performance, just presence. So if gratitude feels hard right now, don't shame yourself for that. You don't have to fake happiness while your heart is still processing reality. Maybe today your gratitude is simply, I survived another day. And honestly, that's powerful too. And here's your reminder. Your hardest seasons do not make you ungrateful or spiritually failing. Sometimes surviving is the gratitude. Sending you light, love, and healing. And I hope this helped.